All right, we are live. Hi, guys. The thing is, I can't see. Oh, here they are. Okay, everything popped up. So, hi, everyone. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes here to jump on because we're really excited because today we are going to be talking about the hot topic that everyone's talking about, but yet no one seems to really have the right answers, talking about tariff codes and how and if it's actually going to affect you as an online seller. So let's give everyone a couple of minutes to pop on here. And in the meantime, I'm going to have Neil just talk a little bit for those of you who are new to the group and want to know a little bit more about who we are. And I am going to go in and activate something before we start.
So as Karen said, we are Neil and Karen Gortson from the Private Label University, and we have been private labeling products for over 35 years. We work with some of the largest retail chain stores in the world, independent retailers, as well as entrepreneurs, importers, manufacturers, teaching and training them how to private label products, how to find products, and how to start a business, or again, with retailers, which we've worked with for, again, 35, 40 years, how to improve their margins, how to also private label products, because a lot of retailers really just do arbitrage. They're selling other people's products, and we show them the best way to improve their margins, to improve their, make it so people know who they are, to private label products, create some excitement with their own stores, with product lines that maybe they're thinking of bringing in, they're not sure, especially in a retail place, you have that open front, you have that podium right there to show your customers new products. If you keep showing them other people's products, all you're doing is promoting those other guys, and you're just improving their sales and not yours. So we're firm believers in private labeling, and again, we've been doing this for over 35 years. So it's, if you hear an echo, we're just bringing it on the phone as well.
It's just,
but today we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to compose ourselves, and we're going to talk tariffs and customs, and of course what the administration now is trying to set into place, and if it will affect your business. Things that you should know if you're in the physical product industry, if you're private labeling, there are just certain things that you should know. And we see a lot of people online, YouTube, and different websites saying, "Oh, just bring stuff in. Don't worry, just bring it all in." It's not that simple. It's simple enough to learn the process of private labeling the way we teach it, but there again, as your business develops, you want to make sure that you're well aware of the laws and the regulations and what the rules and regulations you're supposed to follow when private labeling products.
And I think that's really it. And that's why we are here on our private page talking about this, because we have been asked so much lately about what is going on with these, new legislation and the tariff codes that are going to be affecting products that are being brought in from China into the US. And I think what has happened is there's so many people out there that are new to private labeling, some teaching private labeling, but yet new to private labeling. And, if you haven't been in the industry long enough, then you don't know what you don't know. And what we're going to explain is this is nothing new. This is nothing new. What is happening? Tariff codes have always been part of products when it comes to importing. And this is not anything new. And I think a lot of teachings or trainings or talk has been to scare, I think, a lot of people out there just because they're just not educated on importing, really. So again, one thing before we jump in is to make sure that if you are doing any training or you're learning from other people, make sure they've been doing this for decades and that they know products and they have been importing, and not just one or two products. I'm talking thousands of products, and so that they really understand the process of importing and the process of tariff codes and what all that means. So that's number one, because there's so much information out there on private labeling, and if someone's private labeled once, they're teaching you how to do it, and either it's just not done correctly, or you just don't have all the information. And a lot of private labeling, especially if you're going to be doing it on Alibaba or overseas, it involves importing, and you really need to know the background and how to actually import properly. And that's why one of the things that we do at our live events is not only walk you through and give you the blueprint for private labeling that we've been using for the last 35 years, that we use with the chain stores when we're private labeling products for them, but we also take out the importing part of the equation, because the importing stuff, as you know, tariff codes and all this stuff, is scary, and there's a lot to know. So we share our team with those who join us at our live event, so that you don't have to worry about the importing stuff, and you can focus on what you're good at, you know, building a brand and products. So with that being said, let's jump into the topic, because I think a lot of people are concerned out there with regards whether or not these tariff codes are going to actually affect their online business or retail business. But first, let's talk about what a tariff code is. Do you want to talk about what a tariff code is?
Sure. So everyone has to remember that any product entering U.S. soil has a tariff code related to it. It actually has a number that's dedicated to that product to signify what that product is and the territory that product is going to be sold to. So whether it's a raw material, a standard commodity product, where it's going to go, who it's going to service. And the U.S. government decides that it has to be fair. Products that are already pre-manufactured, or companies that have already, been in business for 50 or 100 years manufacturing that product, all of a sudden, if another country is starting to flood the American economy with that product, they're saying, well, that's not really fair that it's coming from this country and it's only 5 cents, and to produce it here is 20 cents. We have to make it fair. So what they do is they add a tax. They add a fair tax to make it so the playing field is leveled. And so what happens is every product, people think, oh, no, U.S. Customs doesn't know my product. Every product that passes onto our soil, whether it comes from rail, from air, from boat, is recorded. And your company, if you're importing legally, is recorded, and that product is given a dedicated number. So that way, everyone is basically acting in a fair way and doing business fairly. So it actually works well for U.S. companies, whether you're doing an online sales site or you're a manufacturer here and you have to bring in other raw materials. It makes it fair for everybody. So again, it's been going on for years and years and years. So the great thing is I've been working with U.S. Customs, Canada Customs, and China Customs, and also Korea Customs, Japan Customs, and India Customs for over 30 years. With some of those countries now for over 40 years. And of course, even with Europe and Mexico, I work with on a weekly basis. So it's very important for me to always be updated, because Customs sends me emails and updates sometimes throughout the day of things that are changing. Maybe they're changing a code. Maybe there's going to be, they're going to implement a quota or a limitation of the amount of product that's supposed to enter American soil. So the nice thing was, a couple weeks ago, we actually got the preliminary hearing and notes of what they're going to set as the new tariffs and the laws and regulations towards those products that everyone's been talking about.
So before we continue, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear us and see us, because what we're going to share with you today is going to be incredible, because this is right hot off the press that you guys are going to hear about this. So I just want to make sure. So just jump in the chat, just make sure, hey, you can see us, you can hear us. Yep, Peter, perfect. I see Chris, Barbara, Parody, hey. I just want to make sure you guys can see and hear. Okay, perfect. Great. Hey, Lila, how you doing? So, okay, good. So again, Neil, is very well-versed in this category. We also have an incredible team, logistics team and customs team that we work closely with, that we are very fortunate that they share with us this information. Mm-hmm. So I want you to feel that you can jump into the chat at any time and ask questions along the way, because I know you guys are going to have questions, or if we didn't cover something, then ask a question and we will definitely cover that.
So so take a deep breath. We're going to say customs, deep breath out. Customs, tariffs. It's okay. It's okay.
Because I think the words in itself are scary in itself, and the whole idea of importing seems scary, but it doesn't have to be, right? A lot of people in their trainings avoid even talking about it because they just don't know. And a lot of people rely on Alibaba and the people on the other side on Alibaba figuring they'll figure out how to get it to me. Big mistake. Big mistake. You guys, if you are all interested in doing private labeling, you have to understand the importing if you're going to be importing from a different country. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be China. Anywhere. You need to understand the process. You don't personally have to do it. Like I said, when we have our live events, we share with you our team. Which is awesome, because then you don't have to worry about it. Let them worry about it. That's what they do. That's what their specialty is. So the whole idea is you have to at least understand it. And to avoid it, or to go into programs or teachings where you're avoiding it, where they're not talking about it, is not helping you in your business, right? Our philosophy is to help you understand an entire process and build a brand and build a business that's going to last forever, so that you could either sell it or build on it or whatever you want to do, but it's about building that. And in order to do that, you need to understand everything within it. Doesn't mean you have to be doing every part of it, right? You're going to have your specialty that you're going to be doing, but you need to at least understand every process of it. And importing, there's no way around it. The importing section, you need to understand at least to the point where you know what you're looking for, and then you can give it to a team to do.
So we have a 60-page report here, and the 60-page report came into me. We kind of condensed some of it because we don't want to go through every part of it, but it basically summarizes from the trade representatives of the U.S. government based on the practices of the government of China and how the U.S. wants to place its position with intellectual property, innovations of products, any type of reasonable or unreasonable work that's going to be done in China to sell products into the USA, and how it's going to restrict the U.S. commerce. And that's what the U.S. Government is looking at right now with U.S. Customs, is how it's going to affect commerce.
So let me stop you right there, and let's kind of put this in English, because Neil will start reading and get all these techie words in, it's could be overwhelming. So let's just talk about, like, the biggest question that we've been getting is why? Why are there all of a sudden, we understand now what tariff codes are. We understand that when products have a tariff code regardless, right? There's a tariff code associated to a product. When products come in, you got to pay a duty. We all understand that, right? We're all good on that? Okay. So the next thing is why? Why are we having higher taxes? Why are on some of the higher tariff codes on some of the products? Why? Why is this?
So again, it happens to do with a lot of the large corporations that are being affected, directly affected by overseas companies. Again, we're going to always relate to China here, but it's not just China. However, most of the imports that are coming into, especially in the retail trade industry, are from China. The manufacturers, and I'm going to pick this because this is actually one item that comes into effect, are razors. So Schick is an American company. So Schick, of course, with the new companies, Harry's, and there's Dollar Shave Club and all these other generic brands of shavers that are coming to the market, hitting the dollar stores, 20 shavers for $1, that affects Schick. So they say, hey, we're being drastically affected. We don't want to lay off. We don't want to close up. We're not going to take all of our manufacturing. Now, maybe they have some types of handles or accessories made in China, but the main bulk, the main component of their product, they're losing business. And so because of the influx of all these China companies just shipping cheap, penny razors. So there's a perfect example of it's affecting the U.S. economy. So
the idea of the tariff codes to increase some of them is to level off the playing field.
Right. So a razor that may come in that someone imports for 5 cents now may cost them, and I'm just going to pick a number, it's going to cost them 10 cents. It may cost 30 cents. Again, there's other hidden taxes that, again, they're not hidden. The government will show what they're for. But if they're going to increase, let's say 25% is what I know the administration is talking about, 25%. But 25% on top of 5 cents is really not a lot. But on the scale of if it's $100 million worth of razors that are being poured into the country, add 25%, well, that's a strong number. So Schick wants to make sure that, hey, they're paying their fair share, and now we feel that we can compete better on that behalf. They're not saying we're going to stop. You're not allowed to import that product. We're just setting a higher duty rate so it makes it a little more level with the American manufacturer. And again, I've talked about this for years. I'm going to say at least the past 20 years when I've gone into retailers and importers and even working with entrepreneurs of what you have to be aware of is your duty rate and your taxes depending on the country that you live in. So your importing tax is different. There's VAT, there's PSTs, there's GSTs, HST, depending on the country that you live in. And you have to be aware that it can change, because if someone happens to say, hey, I want to pose a public hearing because it's directly affecting my business, the government says, hey, we're on your side, we're going to help you, and we're going to actually investigate to see where it's affecting you.
So this is nothing new, right? These tariff codes and increases and changes and added percentages is nothing new. This has been going on every single year since the beginning of time, right? You know what I mean? It's nothing new. It's just new now because it's now much more
openly discussed,
commercial, right?
Yes.
Or it's out in the media. That's why. Private labeling years ago, 3 decades ago, when we were doing private labeling, I mean, there was no glamour to it. Now, private labeling, everyone's doing it and it's glamorous. And, so all of a sudden now tariff codes, my God, tariff codes. Who even knew what tariff codes were back then or discussed? It was boring. It was, all the verbiage, like no one talked about tariff codes. Now tariff codes you're going to see is very sexy tariff codes. So again, this is nothing new. The increases are nothing new. I mean, for example, even in our industry, there are items in our industry that have duties of over 100%. Right? Anti-dumping duties. I mean, this is nothing new. So tariff codes may seem like a new thing, and it seems like, oh, we're increasing the price for this and that. Nothing new. Honestly, nothing new. And what we're going to show you is it's really not going to be affecting a lot of what you think it's going to be affecting. So for example, in that example that Neil gave, there's some positives and negatives to that, right? It's a positive for these big companies because it's going to help them. Right? It's going to help them. These are American companies. We still need these companies. And at the same time, it's going to prevent a lot of the invasion of the Chinese companies coming into the North American market, right? When you go onto Amazon, I would say way over 50% of those companies selling on Amazon are Chinese companies, right? It's going to help get rid of the invasion of other countries coming into our own territory, right? We need to build on, for the American entrepreneurs here. So it's going to help eliminate some of that competition as well. So that was one example. Mm-hmm. So let's...
So I'm going to look at, and again, as I mentioned earlier, I've talked about this for years, and people will say, "Oh, I heard there's a higher duty rate coming in for this, or they're going to implement and they're going to add a new tax, or they're going to add a new subheading for this product." There's always been headings for every single product that comes into America. However, you know, I've always explained that any of the big commodities, so steel, lumber, furniture, weapons, drugs, those have always been hit hard because that's what the American economy is built on. You know, we want to make sure we're having, whether it be supplements or food products, still manufactured candy products. You know, we've lost a lot of the candy industry to China and Taiwan and India and Indonesia, where we want to keep those small candy operations still in business because no disrespect to Chinese candy, but they love the American chocolates. So why would we want to keep buying, you know, if I buy a gumball that says made in China, when was it made? 10 years ago? I don't know.
And for health regulations too.
So when I got this report, I wasn't surprised. And it took me, I spent about 10 hours going through it, and I'm just trying to pick out items that may direct sellers and they should be aware of. But when I peruse through most of it, again, it's the main items. It's commodities, it's steel, it's aluminum, it's certain supplements, raw materials, again, that aren't going to affect the Amazon seller, the eBay seller, the startup entrepreneur looking for a product. If you're going to bring in nuclear reactors, well, that's on the list. So don't bring in nuclear reactors.
However, that was basically, I mean, Neil said it. Everyone is so concerned on how it's going to affect their business, and you know, people are not going to Canton Fair, or they're thinking about it, and they're thinking maybe they won't because they're scared about what the tariff codes might say and how it's going to impact their business. The bottom line is the tariff code increase is not going to affect your business in a couple of ways. One, as Neil's going to mention right now, he's going to go through a list of, kind of a summary list of products, and most likely an Amazon seller or an online seller or even the retailer is not selling these products, so it's not affecting you. And secondly, even if your product was on it, you are bringing in nuclear weapons or whatever, and it does affect the amount of the increase that is applied still will be so small that you're not going to see those numbers, that it's still going to be worth it for you if you choose to still bring it in and import it through China. Those profit margins are still going to be there. It's not going to be where you're importing something for $10 and now with the tax it's like $100 and you have to sell it for $700, but other people are selling it for $30. Nothing like that. It's not huge. There's no huge drastic big changes. However, let's jump into the document Neil has and his summary to go over some of the items and examples to show you really what is going on right now with those tariff codes and who really it's affecting. You guys into that? Yeah. Okay.
So as I mentioned, of course, if you're in the supplement business, there are specific supplements that are going to be affected. And a lot of them, of course, are used in hospitals. So major, amphetamines, amino acids, certain naphthals, aromatic derivatives, again, things that are used in hospitals. So they want to make sure that hospitals and the manufacture of hospital equipment is not going to be affected.
However, if you've been to any of our training and you're doing supplements and you're doing anything like that, we always encourage you anyway. You should be locally in the U.S. Sourcing products. Anything that's going to be going into your body, you should be sourcing from the US or Canada, or not from China. So a lot of the supplements that are listed in there, and some of them are supplements that I see even on sites like Amazon that are being sold, will have additional fees to them. And I believe they should. Right?
And I'm going to pinpoint a couple odd ones that people may say, like, why are you bringing that up? But malaria diagnostic test kits. So people going into the travel business and saying, hey, I'm going to bring in a special malaria test kit because I'm heading off to Indonesia or Malaysia. Well, that's on the list.
And some of that includes like needles, right? So in that test kit involves needles. And again, there's safety issues, there's health issues. And I believe one of the things actually they even name needles in here, right?
Razors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Razors. So specific dental equipment. So if you bring in a lot of dental equipment and you're bringing it from China, I would check that list. Of course, if you're in the steel industry and you're bringing in container loads of steel, there's all different kinds of steel, all different kinds of aluminum on those lists. Special, gas drills specifically for oil drilling or gas drilling. Well, if you're in the heavy duty equipment, then you may look on that list because it's going to be there. Railway equipment. So if you're in the railway business and you're bringing in specific equipment for fixing rail cars and rail equipment, airplane engines, that's on the list.
So any of you importing airplane engines
and all the components of airplane engines.
And sticking it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Helicopters are on the list, so don't start importing helicopters. And it's funny that you bring up engines. We've heard some of these online sellers who are teaching programs talk about, you know what, forget about the small stuff. Start bringing big stuff, because the big stuff everyone's not looking at. Bring in engines. Actually, there was one guy saying bring in boat engines, boat equipment, big boat, because no one's going to do it, and your margins are going to be there, and you can bring them in. Well, boat engines are on the list.
And furniture. Someone said bring in furniture, like desks and furniture. Well, not only even before this release of the tariff codes, but there's anti-dumping issues with certain types of woods.
Certification of woods, fumigation.
Certain furniture you can't bring in. So not good advice from someone who's teaching private labeling to be giving advice on, hammocks, swings. There's certain regulations on that, and people are being told to bring these things in, and again, on the list.
On the list. Steam turbines for marine products. Again, aircraft turbojets, you got to leave that off.
So wait, before you go on to more, we have some questions here I just want to get to, and then we'll continue on with more on the list. Dalton, you mentioned something here, something that was sent to me. I haven't seen the email. If you want to post it, what it was that you want us to dive into here, let me know. If anything, some people start private labeling might be competition to topicals. Mm-hmm. Did you see topicals in here?
Topicals I did not see on the list. So there were specific, again, so what you have to remember is ingredients. And what happens is, if you're bringing in, let's say there is an item that's on the list, and that product, you said, you know what, if someone, and again, unfortunately, we've seen people who are teaching programs saying, well, just send it to a different country and then have them put it in the jar there and then bring it in. So customs is not stupid. They know where a majority of those products are being manufactured. And all of a sudden, a new cream or a new item that's in a jar, that's a topical, is being shipped in from Cambodia or Taiwan, and they don't normally have shipments. They're going to look at it and they're saying, where is that? The main component is that item that's in that jar. Okay, the jar is made in Taiwan, but that component inside, if the majority is made in China, then it's a China product.
And same thing with, we've seen a lot of companies now taking their products and just shipping it to another they have another manufacturing plant, say Cambodia again, shipping it there and then shipping it out. It's still from the origin of where the product's made, which is still back in China, mm-hmm. right? So it's still the same thing. So you can try to, skirt around, and I think some companies will do it in China if you ask them, but if you ever get caught,
it's illegal.
It's illegal. It's trouble.
Bakery, again, we've heard someone was recommending people to bring in appliances because, again, the margins are high and you can private label them. Things that are ovens, so they're cracking down because they want to keep appliances that are still made in America. GE and I don't know all the other brands of appliances, but they're looking at a lot of larger kitchen items, freezers, fridge, bakery ovens. Again, those type of what are the main cooking, what do you call them? No, but appliances, stoves, all the different types of stoves, again, are on the list.
And Barbara says here, I hear of some people shipping leather goods from China to Italy and having it marked made in Italy. Illegal.
Not allowed. Not allowed. And there actually were a couple companies that were sued because of this, because they were originally Italian manufacturers, decided to say, hey, it's still made in Italy, but really it was packaged in Italy. And again, if you're caught, They can seize your shipments. They can force you to liquidate them, destroy them, and huge fines.
And Barbara, you are correct. Those people who are more nervous now about this tariff code, and it's just because they don't understand what tariff codes and what is going on with this legislation, and they don't understand the importing process. Again, this is nothing new. You're right. It scares people, and those people will lose out on the opportunity to not private label. And good for us, because it gives us more opportunity to cover private labeling and to be able to get more products out there, less competition. You're 100% right. Mm-hmm. So it's a shame. We're headed off to China actually next week. We're going to the Canton Fair. We're bringing a group of students. I see some of them on the call right now. We're really excited, and we're excited for them because the opportunity is huge. Private labeling is huge right now, and it is sexy right now. May not have been 30 years ago, but it is sexy right now. And we're excited because they're going to have that opportunity to meet suppliers directly, find products, leave with their samples, get everything done in 7 days, and then start their business. And the tariff codes are not going to be affecting them like everyone is, the rumors that were going around. And like I said, this is nothing new. Tariff codes are nothing new. Increases are nothing new. And it's really not going to affect, even if it's a product that is in the future even affected. The amount of increase is so small, so it's still not going to be affecting the way people think. So we're excited about that. Oh, Kyle, yes, is on. 9 more sleeps, Parody says. I like that. I'll have to remember 9 more sleeps. Less for us. We're going to be there earlier, but it's awesome.
So I can, the list I think is going to be posted publicly in the next couple weeks. But again, we love to work with entrepreneurs. We work with retailers. We work with importers and manufacturers. And it's very important for us to make sure that our clients have the information, and before they start jumping into new products, know what they're going to be importing, aware of the product. And it's just a way of making sure that your business is operating on a, I'm going to say up and up. You have to make sure you're following the rules and regulations. You have to make sure you're following the law. And, I've always joked around when I have meetings with port directors and U.S. Customs directors, and they have more authority than the FBI. At any time, they can walk into a company and saying, hey, all this equipment, all this machinery, all these products, if you don't have the proper documentation, the proper paperwork, we're sending in officials to seize it. And we're closing your doors until we actually have all the proper paperwork. So, again, make sure you have the information before you get involved with a product, or as you're choosing a product, making sure you're aware of the tariff codes, the duty rates, the taxes, everything around that product.
So basically the process, the private label blueprint, that's what you need, right? So just to share with you, the private label blueprint we do live. We teach a live 3-day training here in Colorado. It's a small workshop where we literally walk you through the entire private label process. You leave with your own personal blueprint. But more than that, we do one-on-one coaching with you prior. You come to the event. We dive into the program. We teach you everything, basically 3 decades within 3 days, and we start implementing the process with you. So you get templates. We read emails together. We respond together. We look for products together. We do everything together. You have 2 mentors by your side the entire time walking you through this. And then we share with you the entire importing process so you understand what part of it is involved in your business. And then what we do is we give you our team, our personal logistics, private importing team, so that you can use within your own business and not have to worry about the importing stuff. Because yeah, it could be scary and there's a lot to know, but you don't have to worry about it because we give you our team to do it for you and to look after it for you. And then we support you even after the event too, with a one-on-one and support within our private group. So it is pretty awesome. I know there's some people who have been to the live event before, and you can, I know that they have posted here, even in this chat, you can speak with them, or, you know, if you have any questions, we encourage you to reach out to us personally. We are so vested in your success and in what we do that we open our doors and encourage you to set up a chat with us. You can go over to our website at privatelabeluniversity.com. You can set up a chat with us and we can talk about whether the live event is right for you, or you can email us and we can go over that as well. But it is an amazing opportunity to get the whole process down, have your own private label blueprint, have a team supporting you and a team in place so that you can get the process done, literally, and in 3 days. I mean, tons of people buy online training programs, myself as well, and never get through them. This is 3 days, get it all done. The next event is in May 17th to the 20th, I believe it is. And I put a link here. You can see the link up top. You can click on it and get all the information there. I do want to mention that it is a workshop, and a small workshop, so that we can work one-on-one with all of you and really give you that time. So we keep it really small. There are only 4 spots left. 4 spots. So if you are interested, I would jump on that link and get registered right away, because there's only 4 spots left. And we only have a limited space because we do it in our office. So you get to come right to our headquarters and work directly with us and our team. So 4 spots. Definitely want to get registered. It is in May, and we are not sure when the next event's going to be, because we're so all over the place, as far as we're in China, and then we're in Canada, then we're all over the place touring and doing different things, meeting with suppliers and clients as well. So 4 spaces, get registered so that you get the blueprint that you need to build your private label business.
And as Karen mentioned, you know, we've had so many people who, when they get on a call, they went, "Oh my God, I'm actually talking to you and Neil." Yes, because we hear so many of these people that are trying to sell programs or teach programs, and you're talking to some VA that is just, "Oh, I'm an assistant here," or they could be someplace else, and they're answering questions. No, we talk to you. We answer your questions. We're here to help you. We're here to help you through the process. So you don't talk to someone else that has my name. You talk to me, or you talk to Karen. So if anyone has any other questions, you know, I can go through, there's again 60 pages, but it was one thing that I thought was very funny was cassette players. VCR players. So if there's anyone out there online that is saying, "Hey, the hottest new thing is not spatulas or garlic presses, it's VCRs, because it's going to be the in thing since vinyl's back in. Now you have to start bringing back VCR players and cassette players." Well, they are on the list, and every product around them, all the apparatuses and recording equipment for VCRs, they're on the list. So
if you're bringing them in from China, they're on the list.
They're on the list.
Any of those old Beatle albums or cassettes, they're from China?
Yes.
On the list.
Helicopters, as I mentioned, they're on the list, and helicopter propellers are on the list again. Someone was recommending bringing in large stuff, boat sails and everything else. Okay, I would look at that, because a lot of that heavy equipment that was manufactured in the U.S., there's going to be a higher duty rate on them.
Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, Barbara was at our last event, and so much fun implementing, everyone with their computers out. It's pretty awesome. Watch the videos and the testimonials. I mean, you'll see for yourself. That live event is it. I mean, no one can or is even doing anything like this, and at the price for it as well. We've seen different programs talking, you know, different retreats talking about Amazon and, you know, $10,000, $20,000. I mean, ridiculous amounts. This is all about private labeling. There's no people coming in, speakers talking about different things and selling you stuff. Nothing like that. It's all about working. It's a workshop. Working. The word work is in it. So be prepared to work. If you're not prepared to work, it's not for you. Wouldn't you say that, Barbara? Lots of work. Made great friends. I'm still mastering with that from
masterminding.
Masterminding. Yeah, I can't see without my glasses.
And Peter wants to know any news for workshops in Canada.
Yeah, so we are working still, possibly doing one in August. But Peter, I will send you a message after this, and we can talk more about that as well. But the next one is May here in beautiful Colorado. It's going to be beautiful in May. May is a beautiful time of year.
We have had snow in June, but typically May is beautiful.
And actually, I should clarify, we did have a special guest our last event, and we had a special guest of George. Do you guys remember my George? Yes, my George. So our special guest was our St. Bernard George, who came in. He owns his own private label brand with Mozart. And he came to the live event just to say hi and meet everyone. Was he not the sweetest thing? My George.
George.
George. Was he not the sweetest? He was a good student. He was good. It's snowing. It's snowing here?
No.
It was snowing here.
In Canada.
Oh, yes, in Quebec. It's always snowing in Quebec. There's always something going on there.
Just head
in the corner.
Just head over to LaFleur's and grab a hot dog. Hot
Tim
dog
Hortons.
and coffee.
I need
LaFleur's
my
for a hot dog and some poutine.
Oh, we love poutine. And I need my I always talk about my Timbits and my ketchup chips, right? Gotta have that. I gotta throw that in.
And for those who haven't had poutine, it is a
yum.
Yeah, it is.
It's a heartburn. It's a heart attack in the making, but it's delicious.
So you must try if you see any place with poutine on the menu.
So what would you say? What is in it? It's like cheese and gravy with French fries.
Typically, it's French fries covered with gravy and cheese curds. But now they have all kinds.
But when we were growing up, you would add ketchup to that, and then you'd add your vinegar to it. We had our own version of it. It is the bomb.
For the heart.
For the heart. Literally. I can totally go
if
for
anyone
that.
has any questions they want to post about tariffs or the new regulations.
We hope we relieved some of the stress that was building up. So to summarize, basically, it's not going to affect the typical online seller, typical Amazon seller, or even the typical retailer. It really is not going to. And even if there are products that do pop up along the way that do have increased rates, it's still not going to affect the way you think it would have. It's going to be marginal, really marginal.
And clearly stay away from radiation beam delivery units, because that is on the list as well.
What is it?
Radiation beam delivery units.
What is that?
Anything, I guess, related to X-ray tubes, X-ray generators, X-ray machines, that's on the list. Pacemakers. So I wouldn't be selling pacemakers on Amazon. I think there's probably a lot of insurance you're going to have to take out on having that company.
And that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other topic.
Insurance. That's a whole other topic.
So again, hopefully you are working with a qualified, and I repeat, qualified customs broker. Not a logistics company who says, hey, we can do your customs as well. A qualified customs broker.
And if you're looking for one, May event has 4 spots, and we are going to share our team with you. 4 spots.
So any other questions? Let's look.
And if you popped in late or you're watching this as a replay, then please feel free to jump into the comments, leave a comment or a question, and we will be checking them.
And we will answer, not our VA in another country. Are they going to put tariffs on Chinese tea? So not yet. However, food products, again, depending on how they're processed. I will get back to you on that, Peter, with some further information. But I know certain food products, they haven't even tackled that whole portion yet. So we're waiting to see, but I definitely will have information for you. So I will send you a private answer on that. And
more will be added to the list. I understand some electronics as well will be, I think, on the next round. But again, they're not going to be. They're really focusing on they're focusing also on the motor vehicle market. So
engines, motorcycles, motorcycle engines, motorcycle parts. So people are involved in that, again, are going to have to check with their broker or U.S. Customs. Again, they want to keep the manufacturing of cars still afloat in the U.S. So they're making sure that those parts are designated and breaking down the subheading specifically. So someone says, well, they don't kind of mention my item and it's car related. Make sure you check with Customs and with a licensed, qualified broker. Again, before even qualified, licensed broker, to make sure they check to make what your product falls under which heading.
So did you guys find this helpful and some relief? If you have, please send us tons of hearts. I want to see my entire screen full of hearts.
Not yet?
Hearts. Hearts.
Thumbs. Customs.
Customs. Tariffs. We're good, right? Let's see those hearts coming in.
There
Yay,
we go.
We got thumbs.
We got hearts. We got smiley faces.
There you go. Now they're coming in. You guys are awesome. So good. So I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm glad that we did this. Just so you know, I did do this over in our private group. This is for you guys. We're going to start doing more live kind of open questions and talking about some of the hot topics and talking about stuff here in our private group. So that just kind of keep you up to date with what's going on and stuff like that. Kitchen products, Dalton's asking about. Dalton, I didn't get your email that you said that you sent over, so I don't know what you were referring to, but kitchen products, nothing on the list. You're good. Kitchen products, didn't see anything.
The only, again,
except
appliances,
stoves,
big
like
appliances.
Yeah, big appliances. Yeah. But stuff that an online seller would be selling, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. Unless you're listening to, you know, some of the teachings online, big and bulky products.
Bring in microwaves. Yeah, someone was saying bring in microwaves. Or the ones that you see, like the made-for-TV mini cookers. No, those are on the list.
Mini cookers?
Yeah, those. Who's the guy who had that cooker online? Who's that guy?
What's that name of the guy? The TV. Does anyone know?
Bob. No.
With the grill. I know that rotisserie chicken.
Rotisserie thing. The guy. Oh, Bob Popeil. Okay. Is it Popeil? Ron Popeil. Ron Popeil. That's the guy.
I don't think those cookers. Alive.
I think he did the hair thing for a while.
Okay.
But Ron Popeil. So that cooker that he has, that's on the list as well.
So
he was making his in China.
What about George Foreman's?
George Foreman grill. Okay, the grills I did not see. I did see microwaves. However, I will check on that grill.
Oh, see, Barbara said Foreman too. Oh, we both think alike. Good thinking. Good thinking. So you said, Neil, a list is coming out. Is this list coming from you? I wish Neil could create the list.
Yeah, the list. I have actually it's over 60 pages.
And this list is kind of a private list that we are not allowed to share.
Yeah, it's from the government.
But we are sharing with you verbally, but can't share. But a list will be public. You said that there's a public list that will be out.
Yeah, and I think once it is, if we have approval, we will post it. If we can do that, we will post it, especially the items. Again, we're not going to list in nuclear reactors and weapons unless someone specifically has to know about that, motor vehicles. But all the items that we feel are directly going to affect an entrepreneur, someone getting into a physical product or a private label brand, we'll list those items so you're aware of it. Mm-hmm. And that'll be in our private group.
Peter, the
spray on hair. Spray on hair wasn't in the list.
But we
do have a video. Actually, we should probably post a video. No. So I was they used me as a demonstrator.
No, that's not how it started. Let me tell you how it started. We were at the Canton Fair. Okay, this was like, 3 years ago at the Canton Fair, and we were actually there for a client, not searching for that product, but happened to walk by.
And they said,
and I said, what's this? And then the guy came over and said, oh, it's hair, instant hair. So I made Neil sit down.
Yeah.
Made Neil sit down, and we did instant hair on Neil. It looked awesome. It really did look good. You couldn't touch it because then, I don't know, it would have been all over my hands and stuff. But it was pretty awesome. Instant hair. But I can't remember. It was in China. People, a lot of salons.
And we had a lot of people walk around going, wow. Like you all of a sudden, they didn't recognize me. It was like the foreigner with hair. I walked in
Neil's
with no hair.
I'm going to try to pull it up on my phone to show you.
Wow, why? the foreigner all of a sudden had hair, and everyone was clapping like, wow, I was like a movie star now. Someone said I looked just like Nicolas Cage. I'm not sure if...
I got to find this because it is just way too funny. I'm going to make Neil talk a little bit because I have to show you this.
It wasn't silly string. It actually looked like hair. It was
like fiber.
It was fibers. It's actually fiber from clothes, from fabrics, from textiles.
I got to find
and
this.
it is in a jar, and it basically with static electricity sticks to... So you have to have hair. You can't be completely bald. I have a little bit of hair, and it sticks to your scalp, and it looks like hair. And when you walk around and you see yourself in the mirror, like, you double take, like, whoa, all of a sudden I have hair. Until, of course, you go like this, and you have a hand of brown or black or whatever the color was.
I think I might know. Keep going.
Oh, thank you, Lila. But it was an interesting experience, and it did work. And it's funny because at that show, there was a couple companies out of California who were so impressed, they actually placed orders at the Canton Fair and private labeled the product there to have launched on Amazon. So you can actually see it on Amazon, it's on eBay, fiber hair. And actually they have it on, I think it's Home Shopping Network, maybe HSN, where they're kind of powdering it in their hair, and it works.
Hold on, I think I may have found it.
So if Karen has it a little bit, I'm not even embarrassed by it.
I can't even believe you even brought it up.
It was a fascinating experience. But
I know it's somewhere here close. Keep talking.
A lot of times when I'm in China and they see me walking by, a lot of the companies will recognize me because I have been going to the Canton Fair. My first year was 1989. So that's probably before a lot of people have been born on our call. But they would recognize me for years after.
I found it. Should I show them before?
You can show them before. I'm not embarrassed.
I don't know if you could see before.
I had a short haircut for the show.
Before?
So there is some hair on top, but it's
after. What do you guys think? Yeah? Before? So these are some of the products we saw at the Canton Fair that were pretty awesome. I mean, it was awesome. I don't know if you can see how awesome this is. I don't know which way the camera's going. It's kind of a...
Yeah, I think Peter listed where you can buy the hair.
It is pretty awesome. Anyway, it was
and they gave us free bottles to come back with. So when we came back, I said to my son, "Oh, I'm going to go and get a haircut today."
Label that
and
product.
I came back and he's like, "Whoa, Dad, where'd you get all that hair from?"
You can private label the product. The thing is, you have to be tall. Like if you were little like me and someone were to go like this, it would be a mess. But if you're tall and someone can't reach you, then it's pretty good. Hilarious, right? I know. Always something. Right? And something to lighten up the tariff codes.
And anyone joining us in China, we'll show you the live video of me getting it done.
Oh my gosh, way too funny. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We hope you got value in this, and we have released some of the anxiety around tariff codes. And see, tariff codes are pretty sexy now, right? It could be a household name. I think it is a household name. I even have my parents ask me, how are tariff codes affecting? And I'm thinking, really? It's like a household name. You mentioned it years ago. People will be like, what are you talking about?
I say to Karen, we can go see a movie on date night, or we can talk tariff codes.
To those of you joining us either at the live event in May or in China, you're going to have to deal with this type of comedy over here. So anyway, thanks guys, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Bye for now. 再见.
Bring the hugs. Bring the kisses. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.